I suggest you listen to Colonel John Spencer. John Spencer is head of urban warfare studies at West Point. He studied every major urban conflict. I was going to say in modern history. He corrected me, no, in history. Israel, he said, has implemented more precautions to prevent civilian harm than any military in history and beyond what international law requires.
Anybody that believes what he said this entire time, you aren't dealing with reality. You're hooked on politics.
That's why, despite all the lies you've heard,
or Apex paid you really well,
the war in Gaza has one of the lowest ratios of combatants to non-combatants casualties in the history of urban warfare.
That's absolutely incorrect.
And you want to know where it's lowest in Gaza? It's lowest in Rafah.
Oh,
in Rafah.
Unreal.
Remember what so many people said? If Israel goes into Rafah, there'll be thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of civilians killed. Well, last week, I went into Rafah. I visited our troops as they finished fighting Hamas's remaining terrorist battalions. I asked the commander there, how many terrorists did you take out in Rafah? He gave me an exact number, 1,203. I asked him, how many civilians were killed? He said, Prime Minister, practically none.
Oh,
with the exception of a single incident where shrapnel from a bomb hit a Hamas weapons depot and unintentionally killed 24 people. The answer is practically none.
Oh my
You want to
God.
know why? Because Israel got the civilians out of harm's way.
He's
something
a
people said we could never do, but we
psychopath.
did it.
Oh my God, this is just really shocking. But I got a call on December 7th from one of the highest levels of IDF, and they said, he told me, stop him. You will not like what's coming.
These heroes here today, the heroic soldiers of Israel, should not be condemned for how they're conducting the war in Gaza. They should be commended for it.
Notice they aren't showing the crowd. I find this very, very interesting.
I want to thank all of you here today who forcefully opposed the false accusations of the ICC and stood up for the truth. These lies are not only libelous, they're downright dangerous. The ICC is trying to shackle Israel's hands and prevent us from defending ourselves. And if Israel's hands are tied, America is next. I'll tell you what else is next.
Oh, yeah.
The ability of all democracies to fight terrorism will be imperiled.
152,
That's what's on the line.
152
So let me
countries
assure you,
see exactly
the
what you're
hands of the
doing, sir.
Jewish state
152
will never be
countries.
shackled. Israel will always defend itself. My friends, in the Middle East, Iran is virtually behind all the terrorism, all the turmoil,
Pure
all
lies.
the chaos.
What about the Houthis? What about
That should come as
Hezbollah?
no surprise. When he founded the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Khomeini pledged, we will export our revolution to the entire world. We will export the Islamic revolution
Not true.
to the entire world. Now ask yourself, which country ultimately stands in the way of Iran's maniacal plans to impose radical Islam on the world? And the answer
Radical
is clear.
Islam.
It's America, the guardian of Western civilization and the world's greatest power.
Oh, not getting much support on that one. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
That's why Iran sees America as its greatest enemy. Last month, we heard a revealing comment ostensibly about the war in Gaza, but about something else. It came from the foreign minister of Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, and he said this: "This is not a war with Israel. Israel," he said, "is merely a tool. The main war, the real war, is with America."
Oh, that is
Iran's regime has been fighting America from the moment it came to power.
Absolute
In
lie.
1979, it stormed the American embassy. It held scores of Americans hostage for 444 days. Since then, Iran's terrorist proxies have
He's
targeted
rewriting
America
history.
in the Middle East and beyond. In Beirut, they killed 241 U.S. servicemen. In Africa, they bombed American embassies. In Iraq, they supplied explosives to maim and kill thousands of American soldiers. In America, they actually sent death squads. They sent death squads here to murder a former Secretary of State and a former National Security Advisor. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Iran understands
Oh, my God.
that to truly challenge America, it must first conquer the Middle East. And for this, it uses its many proxies, including the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Yet in the heart of the Middle East, standing in Iran's way, is one proud pro-American democracy, my country, the State of Israel.
Your country. Really? How many hundreds of thousands have left and aren't coming back? Your ship has sunk, Mr. Netanyahu. You're on your last leg. The question is,
That's why
how does it end?
the mobs in Tehran chant death to Israel before they chant death to America. For Iran, Israel is first, America is next.
Oh, yeah, right.
So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you.
So let me ask you a question, Netanyahu. How come Israel's never been part of the NPT? How come you had these secret labs that were building nuclear weapons? How come you have more than 600 thermonuclear weapons? Huh? Oh, the number's lower. No, they've had nuclear weapons since the 60s.
My friends, if you remember one thing from the speech, remember this.
You're a liar.
Our enemies are your enemies.
Pathological
Our
liar.
fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory.